All right, YouTube. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to go ahead and relocate my handle again. A couple weeks back, I ran up to Papa John's to grab a pizza, took the S10, got rear-ended back here, and it mangled up my roll pan a little bit. But what I did was I had my license plate in my tailgate, on my old tailgate. So what I did was I went ahead and cut that out. I'm going to relocate it down at a roll pan where the kid tagged me, and going to go ahead and straighten out that little bottom of that quarter panel down there. Actually, I've already straightened out and welded on the new box. So that's a work in progress, but what I'm going to do today real quick is go ahead and relocate that handle. I'm going to make a template of the inside opening right here, because that's where the relocator kit has to go. And then I'll go ahead and cut the hole in here for that and go ahead and install my handle relocator. I'm just going to reuse the same one I had because why not? It still works, so may as well use it. Let's get to work. So the first thing I'm going to do right here is I got a T40 wrench. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tailgate handle. That's pretty simple. It's just these 3 bolts here. So once you get those 3 bolts out, the handle's pretty much loosened up. What you got to do are these 2 plastic clips in here. You've got to get those off. So just kind of push it up. You see it pops off, and then you can pull the little metal bracket out of there. There's one on the bottom too. You can push that one down, maybe. And then also pull the little rod out. And your handle is free to come out of the truck with a little maneuvering. There you go. So it looks like we have 2 inches from the top, and then from that little bend, it's just 1/4 inch. So 2 inches from here, 1/4 inch from the bend, and then we're gonna have it, looks like 6 3/4 wide. So then we'll center it off the hole, because there's a hole right there in the middle from where the old tailgate bolted to. So we'll just center it right there in the middle. So 6 3/4, 2 inches, 1/4 inch. Let's go mark it off. So again, pretty straightforward. 2 inches from the top. So I'm gonna mark it right here, 2 inches. And I'm gonna mark it over on this side, 2 inches. And I'm gonna just go ahead and draw a line right across. Longer than it needs to be, but that's fine. Also 1/4 inch from the bend. So there you go, 1/4. Over here also 1/4. Make sure my ruler is parallel to that bend. Go ahead and mark that off as well. So then 6 3/4 would be 3 3/8. So 1, 2, 3, 3 3/8. 3 and 1, 2, 3, 3/8. 3 3/8 would be right there. And that's 6 3/4 from there to there. All right, let's mark this off. There we go. And this doesn't have to be perfect again because it's going to be covered up by your handle relocator kit. And this is also for my handle relocator kit, these measurements. If yours comes with a template, make sure you use the template that yours comes with, because I don't know what the measurements for all the different brands are. But there we go. Let's go ahead and just cut this out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and test fit this, and it looks like it fits right in. Fitting pretty good. You want to attach your handle. That's a pretty straightforward process as well. You just kind of slide it down in this way. Slide it in there somehow. Whatever way you can get it in there. There we go. And use 2 of the bolts that you had before and just bolt it in. Pretty simple at this point. What you might want to do is wait to go ahead and bolt that in until after you're done welding. That way you can use a wire brush to kind of clean up your welds, and then spray some black paint or primer back there because you don't want that rusting through. I'm going to spray paint the heck out of it because my last one did rust through a little bit. It was a little bit annoying because right there where the Relocator kit was, you could see cracking right around where I put the filler plate. So I'm definitely going to make sure I clean this up really good and spray that down a little bit. But again, this is pretty straightforward here. You just set this in position, make sure it's sitting nice and flat, make sure it's centered, and then use your self-tapping screws to place it in. The final step that you would need to do would be to put all this together. This is actually my handle. What I did with this, I'll go ahead and show you what I did. So the factory handle, when it's installed onto the tailgate, actually sticks out like almost an inch, and it looks pretty crappy. So I cut it down, and if you look at this one compared to the factory handle, you'll see exactly where I cut it. And then I took a piece of, I think this is 3/4 inch flat bar, drilled some holes, and riveted it onto here, because this piece gets a little flimsy, you know, once it's cut up the way it is here. Yeah, so not only do you have to flip them so they'll fit in this hole here, but you actually have to flip them one side to the other as well. So you have to take out both of your hinges, which is pretty simple. You've got the 2 bolts here on the side that hold it in position, and you pull it out, and then that little rod just kind of hooks right here on the end of the hinge. Not too difficult to do, but make sure that the one that's got the little bend in it is the one that's going on the top part here, because it actually has to come underneath the side of the metal here and come up to meet that. So that's a little trick there, just a heads up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this rod in the proper place, get it hooked up. You see I've already got the other side hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and get this rod in, get the screws in, make sure this is centered. We should be good to go.